Who are the 50 best players in Major League Baseball for 2025? That's the question that I'm answering today. And remember, this is just my opinion, and I can't actually be wrong about any of this stuff because the season hasn't happened yet. But let's get into who I think are the best players in baseball. Before we start, I'm putting one honorable mention on the list. I can't put Jackson Holliday on the list because of how he performed in 2024. However, I think he's going to be an elite baseball player in 2025, and I really want to put him on the list. I just can't. There are players that are better than him. However, I'm calling it now. Jackson Holliday is going to break out. Also, players like Ronald Acuna Jr. and Spencer Strider, I can't put him on the list. I don't know when they're going to be healthy. Acuna might only play half a season. He's not going to be a top 50 player if he only plays half a year, in my opinion. I'm not putting him on the list. I'm sorry. If he is playing, obviously he's a top 50 player. If he plays the whole season, obviously he's a top 50 player, but I just don't know if that's going to happen, so I'm not putting him on the list. Simple as that. Let's start out with the 50th best player in Major League Baseball, and that's William Contreras. Contreras is a bad catcher defensively and adds little to nothing on the base paths. However, he is a monster in the box with an 830 on base plus slugging or OPS and a 129 OPS plus, meaning he was 29% better than the league average hitter. He hit the baseball harder than all but 6% of the league in 2024, and as a catcher, that offensive production is extremely impressive. Add 23 homers and a 280 batting average, and you have one of the best catchers in Major League Baseball. The second player on the list is Riley Green, and honestly, we might already be underrating somebody on this list. Riley Green was incredible in 2024, and basically no one has talked about it. 5.4 wins above replacement, meaning he was 5.4 wins better than the replacement level player, and he hit 24 homers and had an 827 OPS with a 133 OPS plus. He was insane in one of the biggest reasons why there was a flip in the Tigers record from 2023 to 2024. The only reason why this pitcher is not higher on the list is because of the volume that Tyler Glasnow pitches at. He's an incredible pitcher, and in 2024 he struck out 168 batters in just 134 innings, which is an insane rate. Along with that, he had a 3.49 ERA and a 2.9 FIP, which is fielding independent pitching and is basically ERA that takes fielding out of the equation. This is a great indicator on who will be good in the future and who might not be as good going forward. He also is awesome at limiting base runners and overall is just one of the most dominant pitchers in the league when he's healthy. But he's never been healthy. His 134 innings in 2024 was the highest mark of his career, and that's a 9-season-long career. That's just not good enough to go higher than 48th on my list. At number 47, we have one of the fastest players in baseball, and that is 2024 rookie Wyatt Langford. His second half was really solid, and I just have a ton of faith in this second-year player to turn into one of the real stars in the Rangers lineup. And trust me, he is not the only Ranger that will end up on this list. The Rangers are probably going to be very good in 2025, and Wyatt Langford is going to be one of those reasons in my opinion. He was close to a 2020 season in his rookie campaign with 16 homers and 19 stolen bases, and with the very solid underlying stats and great defense and base running, I'm more than happy to put him on my top 50 players list. The Japanese phenom rookie is being added to the list. Roki Sasaki isn't on a team yet, and it simply doesn't matter to me. I wouldn't be surprised if he immediately was one of the best pitchers in baseball. He's extremely young, he throws extremely hard, and has some of the most filthy pitches in the entire world. Roki is the next superstar pitcher, and I really don't care where he ends up. But if he does end up in Dodger Blue or in Seattle, I'd have him higher on this list with their pitching labs along with the ballpark. Either way, Roki is just incredible, and I have him at 46th on my list. Manny Machado is still in the top 50, but with his second sub 800 OPS season, I have to put him pretty low down on this list, which is hard for me to do because I'm a fan of Manny. I just think there are a ton better bats coming up in this list in the future. The defense was also actually below average average last season, and the walks have really dipped in Manny's game. The power is still there, and he even stole 11 bases in 2024, but I really can't put him higher on this list right now. I wouldn't be mad if you disagreed and thought that Manny was in the 30s or something like that. I really wouldn't mind that at all. By the way, before I move on past 45, why not give me a subscribe? For some reason, Bryce Miller always gets lost for me in the Luis Castillo, Brian Wu, George Kirby, and Logan Gilbert rotation. But that's unfair to Miller because he is one of the best pitchers in baseball. He's insane. In 2024, he had a sub-3 ERA sitting in the low 2.9s and had a below 1 whip, which is absolutely insane. It means he just doesn't let runners get on base. He doesn't walk guys and he doesn't give up hits. My biggest issue with Miller, however, is the strikeouts. He just doesn't strike many guys out, and that scares me just a little bit. Enough to not put him higher than 44 at least. He doesn't really get chase and he gets hit pretty hard, but he's still absolutely elite, so he's a tough one to rank. I think 44 is a good spot for him on this list. Another really tough player to rank is coming up next with Carlos Correa, and the reason why he's tough to rank is because he scares me. He was awesome in 2024, well, when he was on the field, but his ankle is due to explode any day now, so I'm too afraid to put him higher than this on the list. 910 OPS, 152 OPS plus, and a 310 batting average and a 3.4 WAR in half the season played. Correa produced like a top 15 player in baseball, if not even better. If he manages to stay on the field for over 150 games, he will be better than the 43rd best player in baseball, but I'm too afraid to count on his health. However, this one could blow up in my face, and I kinda hope it does. Hopefully Correa has a full season. He's electric to watch. Marcus Semien, much like everyone on the Rangers and the team itself, had an extremely disappointing 2024 campaign. He was an exactly league average hitter according to OPS Plus, and had less than a 700 OPS flat. However, he was one of the single best fielders in baseball, and at second base, that's extremely valuable, and I do think he can bounce back in 2025 offensively as well. He's earned the benefit of the doubt from fans, especially after coming second in MVP voting just the season before. The highest paid pitcher of all time is 41st on the list. Yoshinobu, did I say it right this time? I think I did. Yoshinobu Yamamoto had a pretty great rookie season. The 25-year-old got injured and threw just 18 starts, but in those 18 starts, he posted a 3 on the dot ERA and looked as good as advertised throughout the year. He's going to be even better in 2025 and will easily be a top 50 player in the league. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes out and wins the Cy Young in 2025, and this is just a disrespectful ranking to Yamamoto. He's that good in my opinion. However, one of the few pitchers that are better than Yamamoto is coming up next, and that is Jacob deGrom, who is finally back and healthy. I hate putting deGrom at 40, but I just cannot trust that he throws 170 innings and has a full season pitched. But if he did, he will be higher than he is on this list. Even last season, in just 3 starts, he had a 1.6 ERA and 14 strikeouts in just 10 innings pitched. He has a career 2.52 ERA in over 1,300 innings and is truly one of the most overpowering pitchers in MLB history. He deserves a spot on this list even if he only throws 15 games for the Rangers in 2025. Please give me a full healthy season of Jacob deGrom. Please. We deserve it as baseball fans. I don't know what to think about Julio Rodriguez. He's fast, he's an incredible fielder in center field, and he hits the ball very hard and very far when he makes contact. In 2023, he was one of the best hitters in baseball, but in 2024, he simply couldn't find that bat that he had in 2023, which is extremely disappointing for the young star outfielder. I think he will be a little better in 2025, but I'm just not sure how much I think he's going to fully bounce back in 2025, which is why I'm ranking him at 39. Dylan Cease's first season in San Diego, that was a hard sentence to say, was another great season for the hard-throwing right-hander. 3.4 ERA, 189 innings pitched, all 33 starts for his team, and 224 strikeouts, and now he's pitching into a contract season, meaning if he has an elite season, he's going to make a lot more money, which is going to motivate him. Also, he's been the most durable pitcher in baseball over the past 4 seasons, but he has a little bit of a walk issue, which is my biggest concern with Cease. Either way, he's going to be incredible in 2025. The volume over the past 4 years does not lie, and I think he's thrown the most innings out of anyone in those 4 seasons. Dylan Cease, he's a monster. Second half, Corbin Carroll was one of the best players in baseball, which was huge because his first half was just downright terrible. 919 OPS in the second half and a 147 OPS plus, which is very good. However, his overall numbers are still going to hold him back at spot 37 on this list because you simply cannot ignore them. Still a 3.4 WAR and 35 stolen bases, however, just a 231 batting average and a 107 OPS plus on the whole season. Not great for the sophomore speedster down in Arizona. Hopefully he bounces back and proves me wrong here though. Michael King is easily one of the most underrated pitchers in baseball, and he showed it in the NLCS against the Los Angeles Dodgers. He's just incredible. His stuff is some of the best I've ever seen in baseball, especially that slider, curveball, sweeper thing. I don't know what he calls it, but it's disgusting. It's truly just an unfair pitch. Last season was his first real season as a starter, and he had a sub-3 ERA, and I think he will be just as good in 2025. Another pitcher that had 200 strikeouts as well, and another Padre, much like Dylan Cease, who I just mentioned 2 spots ago. Michael King and Dylan Cease might be the best 1-2 in baseball, and if Roki Sasaki ends up there as well, watch out for the Padres, that's all I'm gonna say. I left Jose Altuve off my list last year, and that was definitely a mistake made by me because all this guy does is hit. I don't really need to explain why Jose Altuve is a top 35 player in baseball because he's been doing the same thing for over 10 years. He's just an elite hitter, and I'm not making the same mistake by leaving this hit king off of the top 50 again. 2,300 hits throughout his career and an over 50 WAR. I just really hope he makes it to 3,000 hits at the end of his career, and I hope he's a Hall of Famer. Say trash can all you want, Jose Altuve deserves it more than most people do. I want to put this guy higher on the list, I really do, but Corbin Burns' strikeout issue is starting to concern me just a little bit. Apart from that, he's still absolutely elite and is absolutely worth the contract that the Arizona Diamondbacks gave to him. However, I don't want to put him as a top 5 pitcher in baseball for 2025 because I just think the guys above him are going to have better seasons. That's the point of the list. That's why I'm putting him here. Corbin Burns might have had a better career than some of these guys ahead of him so far, but I'm making a prediction here. I'm taking a couple of big swings here. I think Corbin Burns is going to fall off just a little bit because of the strikeouts going down. This could easily end up being one of the worst rankings on the list if he has another sub-3 ERA, but like I said, I'm just taking a little risk here, keeping him a little lower. If you just go based off of what happened last year, it's going to make for a boring video. I think the value of Corbin Burns is going to decrease just a little bit. Second half, 20-year-old Jackson Chourio was one of the most impressive players in baseball, with great defense along with a .310 batting average and 12 homers in just 60 games. The strikeouts also went way down as well. Over the full season, Chourio had a 2020 season, again at just 20 years old, and I do value the second half of the season more than the first half since that was him just getting his feet wet in Major League Baseball. He's one of the fastest players in baseball as well, just an incredible season for a ridiculously young player, and I fully believe that he will be a better player in 2025. I really think this guy might be the next superstar to really take a massive leap in 2025. I think he's one of the best young players in baseball, I really do. And again, he's just 20. He's 20 years old. Rafael Devers was having the best season of his career until his shoulder got really bad in August of 2024. His OPS went from a 1.1 in July, which is incredible, to a 700 in August, which is average. average to a .400 in September, which is one of the worst in baseball, before he was shut down at the end of that month for the season with that same shoulder injury. In the first half, his OPS was .965, which was one of the best players in baseball, and he hit 23 of his 29 homers in the first half. Basically, what I'm saying is Devers was the best version of himself at his age 27 season before he got injured. I think he's going to go back to that, and if he does, he will be even better than the 32nd best player in baseball. But I'm going to be safe, and he's staying right here, mainly because of the defensive concerns of Devers, because we all know he's a bad defender. Trey Turner was awesome in 2024, but I feel like it was extremely quiet. He had a .295 batting average, .807 OPS, .124 OPS plus, and of course with Trey Turner, the speed is always going to be there. He hit 21 homers in just 120 games, which was just 5 off of his all-time home run pace, and I expect him to be just as good in 2025. Short and sweet, we know that Trey Turner's good, he's just barely missing out on the top 30 for me. Not missing out on the top 30 is Willy Adames, and this is a weird player. I've said that a couple of times, but Willy, he's really weird in my opinion. I think he's a star, but the underlying stats are not really big on him at all. He hit 32 home runs in the 2024 season, but had less than an 800 OPS. He also stole 21 bases, but his defense, which he's been known for, took a major step back in 2024 and was barely even league average. He struck out way more than the average MLB player as well, and even with all of this, I think he was good enough to be a top 30 player in MLB, but I just can't put him any higher than that. If he fixes some of the issues that I mentioned, he is maybe going to be in the top 20s next year. It really just depends on if he can figure stuff out. If he can't, he's still a great player. If he can, he'll be one of the best players in baseball. Trading half a season of Aroldis Chapman for Cole Ragans has to be one of the best trades in recent memory. In his first season with over 100 innings pitched, Ragans came 4th in AL Cy Young voting and struck out 223 batters and started all 32 games of the season for the Kansas City Royals. He was also one of the biggest parts in the Kansas City Royals, flipping their season from terrible in 2023 to the playoffs in 2024. I think he just might get even better in 2025 because he's that talented. I love George Kirby. I still think he's the best of the Mariners pitchers, which I already listed is a rotation of superstar pitchers. 3.4 career ERA with an even better 3.2 career FIP, which means he's gotten a little unlucky throughout his career. Each of the past 2 seasons, he's led the league in walk rate and strikeouts divided by walks. He just simply has the best command in baseball, and he deserves to be in the top 30 in my opinion. That's it. The newest Boston Red Sox, Garrett Crochet, made the first starts of his career in 2024, and he dominated throughout the season for the worst team in MLB history. He had just over a 3.5 ERA in 146 innings, but he had a pretty poor second half due to an innings limit, but he said in 2025, the limits are gone and he's going to be the best version of himself, and I believe him. 209 strikeouts in 146 innings is insane. He'll be one of the best pitchers in baseball in 2025, you can count on that. The 2024 World Series MVP obviously had an incredible postseason. However, the 2024 season as a whole for Freddie Freeman was a bit of a down season for the former MVP. His batting average dropped by 50 points, as well as his slugging by almost 100 points. However, I'm not dropping him by too much because he was injured throughout the season and also had a horrible personal situation with one of his sons in the middle of the season. Sometimes it's bigger than baseball, and I'm so glad that Freddie Freeman's son got the help he needed medically, and I'm very glad that Freddie Freeman was able to bounce back from the mental torment that must have taken on his body and mind. Either way, after 60 doubles in 2023, along with 211 hits, this down 2024 was still more than good enough to put him on this list and put him just outside of the top 25 best players in baseball. However, I wouldn't be surprised if he was back in my top 20 next season. Jackson Merrill burst onto the scene in 2024 2024 for the Padres and quickly became one of the clutchest players in the league, and one of my favorites to watch in all of Major League Baseball. He became an elite defender in just his first professional season as an outfielder, and he did just about everything you could ask for from a rookie. With just below a 300 batting average, a 4.4 WAR, and 24 homers with 16 stolen bases and 31 doubles, he was insane. Since he was just a rookie, he has a great chance of improving basically everything and getting even better in 2025. Merrill is a top 25 player in baseball. You can fight me, I don't care, I'm putting him here. Mookie Betts would be higher on this list if he wasn't playing shortstop in 2025. He was simply not a good shortstop during his time playing there just a few seasons ago. The power also decreased in 2024, and although he did have a major injury throughout the 2024 season, he's getting a little older and he has lost some of his speed and quickness, so I'm a little concerned about his future. But for now, he still has to be a top 25 player in my opinion. Sadly, he's teetering on the edge of falling out of it, but again, this is just my opinion. If you want to have Mookie Betts in your top 15, I'm not going to say you're wrong, it's just a prediction. Chris Sale was traded from the Boston Red Sox and magically didn't get injured in 2024, and of course, he won his first career Cy Young while winning the Triple Crown in the National League. Sale also had the single best FIP in baseball as well as the best ERA plus in baseball, which might mean he deserves to be higher on the list, but I'm still a little concerned about the injury history. However, if he is healthy again, there's no reason why he can't be a Cy Young winner again, or at least within the top 3. Chris Sale, he's a future Hall of Famer. We all know that. He's elite. Corey Seager is still one of the best hitters in baseball, even if 2024 wasn't as good as his 2023 season, which was just absolutely insane. 2024 was still great for Seager, like I said, with an over 5 WAR, and his defense was actually elite in 2024 with a 90th percentile, meaning he was better than all but 10% of baseball defensively, which is not what Seager is known for whatsoever. He's always been a poor defender. Seager still did hit very well, but his OPS plus dropped by 30 points, so I have to drop him down in the rankings, and last year I had him at around 11. I'm dropping him down to 22. We're cutting it in half. Still very, very good player though. Wouldn't be surprised if he was better than this year. Just a prediction, I'm putting him at 22. At number 21, I have the shortest notes for this player out of anyone on the list because there's just not much to say. It's Zach Wheeler. He's incredible and has been for the past 4 seasons. He's just missing out on the top 20 and I don't have anything else to say about him. He's always pitching and he's incredible. That's it. The best catcher in baseball is Cal Raleigh, 4.7 WAR behind the plate, and even though he had just a 220 batting average, he is one of the best defensive catchers behind the plate, which makes him the single most valuable backstop in the league. He deserves to be the 20th best player in baseball because he's just so good compared to the other catchers in baseball. 2024 was the year of Jarren Duran. He was the 7th best player in baseball in 2024 according to WAR, and that's a true breakout. Jarren is my favorite player in baseball, but even I think he's going to take a little bit of a step back in 2025. However, the speed and defense is electrifying to watch in the field, and he led the league in doubles and triples in 2024 and had 35 stolen bases. He's an insanely good baseball player and will be the best player on the Boston Red Sox in 2025 in my opinion. This is going to be a heavily controversial take and I know that, but I'm willing to stand on it. Elly De La Cruz is going to be a top 20 player in Major League Baseball in 2025, the single most toolsy player in MLB, one of the best defenders in baseball, and you can ignore the errors because they simply don't matter because of the range he has, because of his length. He gets to baseballs that no one else does, and then he tries to make a play and makes a throwing error. I don't care about that. Outs above average still loves him. He has a 16 outs above average and is still top 5 percentile in defense, even with with the errors. He's still elite defensively at shortstop, even though he makes throwing errors. I don't care about that. He hits the ball harder than everyone when he makes contact, which sadly isn't super frequently because of his major strikeout issue. He led the league in strikeouts and is also a top 3 fastest player in the league. Ellie is going to break out in 2025 and be one of the top 20 best players in baseball. I simply believe that more than just about anything else I believe on this list. I truly do. Tariq Skubal won the AL Triple Crown in 2024 and still isn't landing as the top pitcher on my list, which is insane. But in my opinion, it's true. Skubal fully broke out in 2024 and he was absolutely disgusting. 170 ERA plus and the best FIP in the American League, meaning he's just going to be able to continue to dominate in 2025 if he stays healthy. That has been hard for him in the past. Hopefully the injuries have gone away now though, and he continues to be able to pitch every season because he's one of the most fun pitchers to watch in baseball. Do we really give Matt Chapman enough credit? He just put up his third 7+ WAR season in 2024, and it might have been his best one yet. He's getting faster every season, which really just doesn't make sense. His defense is still one of the best in baseball, if not the best, and the bat is just awesome, even if the batting average isn't exactly what you would want. There's a reason why he got a big mid-season extension though, and that's because he's one of the top 20 players in baseball. He's just underrated and he deserves to be on this list. I'm putting him at 16. The best pitcher in baseball for 2025 is none other than Paul Skeens. Does anyone think differently at this point? In his rookie season, he had a sub-2 ERA in his first 23 career starts, 170 strikeouts in 133 innings. He started the All-Star game for the National League, came third in NL Cy Young voting, and won Rookie of the Year, and I fully believe he's the best pitcher in the entire league. His stuff is electric, he throws 102 miles per hour, his splinker is unfair, and even his slider is really gross. He doesn't walk many batters either, and he's just an absolute demon. He could realistically go down as one of the best pitchers of all time if things go the way we expect them to throughout Skeens' career. He needs to be the best pitcher in baseball. I'm putting him at 15. No other pitcher is above him. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was an all-star in each of his last 4 seasons, and 2024 was the second best season of his career. His best was the absolutely insane 2021 season. He has also been extremely healthy for the past 4 years, which is something I really value very highly. 940 OPS and a 166 OPS plus, and for a guy with big power, he really doesn't strike out much at all. However, his defense is pretty terrible, but with his insane quality of contact, he's going to continue to have good offensive seasons every year of his career. He's also going into a contract year, which, like I said with Dylan Cease, he's going to be as motivated as ever to go and get a huge payday, and I think he's going to take full advantage. Top 15 player in baseball, I'm putting him at 14. Bryce Harper was slightly worse in 2024 than he was the past couple of seasons, but the numbers were fairly close to his career stats, and even if he was slightly down on his stats, he was still an all-star, and he's still at a 900 OPS, and he's still at a 150 OPS plus, and he plays elite defense at first base. He is going into his age 33-year-old season, so he might be starting to get to that age where he slowly starts to regress, but it simply doesn't matter. There's a reason why Bryce Harper was the golden child from 16 years old, and he turned into a 2-time MVP. He's Bryce Harper, and he's a top 13 player, putting him at 13. Ketel Marte had an insane season in 2024 with a 6.8 WAR. 2019 was still probably better, but my goodness, Ketel was a monster in 2024. In just 136 games, he hit 36 homers and had a 932 OPS and a 155 OPS plus, while being an incredible defender at second base. Another consistently solid bat in the lineup for Arizona. Easily one of the most valuable players at at the position that he plays. Second base is not a position where offensive players play very often, and Ketel Marte is one of the best hitters in the league, and he's just so consistent. Ketel, I'm putting him at 12. He's an awesome player. Yordan Alvarez might be the most underrated hitter of all time. Debatably, he deserves to be higher up on this list, even though he provides zero defensive value. Just go on his Baseball Reference and look at his stats. 166 OPS plus for his career, 298 batting average, 390 on base percentage, 973 OPS, 164 homers in just 629 games. He's just insane. He basically has no holes in his approach whatsoever, and he is an absolute freak hitter. Any year that you look at, he was an incredible player. He's just one of those guys, you can't get him out. You can hold him down for a little bit, he's going to beat you eventually. He's the scariest hitter in baseball almost. Debatably, he might be the scariest one. I hate facing him. When the Red Sox face him, I want to cry. Starting off the top 10, I have Mike Trout. I want to put him higher on this list, but I just can't with the injuries right now. He hasn't played a full season in a very long time. I can't put him higher than 10. But if he wasn't injured, I would still be putting him higher than 10 in my opinion. Other than that, what is there to say about Trout? He's one of the best players of the generation and one of the best players of all time, to be honest. But he hasn't been able to play a full season for years. If he can, he will easily be top 5 again in my opinion. But because of the injuries, I can't confidently put him higher than 10. Even with last season being a down start to the season, he was still absolutely elite. Let's just hope for a full, healthy season of Mike Trout. Like Jacob deGrom, we deserve to watch our stars play, and I want to watch Mike Trout hit some home runs again. The newest Cub is Kyle Tucker. Well, at least the newest star Cub. He might have had one of the best offensive seasons in recent memory if he didn't get injured in 2024. He's insane, and he is also a good defender. A 4.7 WAR in 277 at-bats? That's ridiculous pace. 23 home runs in just 78 games. It's not even half the season. 290 batting average, over a 1 OPS, and a 181 OPS plus. He just got traded to Wrigley Field where the ball carries an insane amount. He's going to be a very, very rich man next year because again, he's on a contract year. He's going to get paid somewhere. I hope it's not the New York Yankees. He might hit 1,000 home runs at Yankee Stadium. There are only 6 players in the 40-40 club. Jose Ramirez was almost the 7th in 2024, with 41 stolen bases and 39 homers. Just 1 home run off of being only the 7th player to ever join that club. He also had a 7 WAR in 2024, and he just doesn't strike out at all. 143 OPS, great base runner, decent fielder, and already a 50 career WAR and 1,500 career hits at 31 years old. One of the most consistent players in baseball and has been a top 10 player for a very long time. Also, he gets some brownie points for taking a little pay cut to stay with Cleveland. That's awesome, and I wish more players did it. Not that they really owe anything to the teams that they help a lot and win games, but I always appreciate when a player takes a pay cut to stay with their franchise. Jose Ramirez is one of those guys. I appreciate him for it. Another player people are going to have an issue with, Fernando Tatis Jr. is at 7. Look, I'm not taking Fernando Tatis Jr. out of my top 10. He's just a monster baseball player. He underperformed all of his underlying stats in 2024. Batting average by 30 points, slugging by 40 points. OPS by 70 points, which would have given him a 900 OPS. He also only played half the season and still hit 21 home runs and had 21 doubles. I'm just waiting for that full season again so he can break out once again and show the world that he still has that 2021 form. He will break out again and it will be awesome. I don't care about the ringworms. I don't care about the steroids. He didn't do real steroids. That's not the reason why he's been struggling. He'll be back, and he's one of the most fun players to to watch, and I'm looking forward to it. Coming in at number 6, just missing out on the top 10, is Francisco Lindor, and this is because he's been insane for the past 3 seasons in a row with the Mets, with 5 WAR in each of those past 3 seasons. He's had basically 0 injuries over that time. He's also averaging 30 stolen bases in each of the past 2 seasons, with Silver Sluggers also in each of those 2 seasons, along with some of the best defense you'll ever see at shortstop, with 16 outs above average in 2024, which is 99th percentile in MLB, 33 homers, 39 doubles, and second in NL MVP voting, just behind the unicorn Shohei Ohtani. Well deserved to be just outside of the top 5 in my opinion. And maybe you have Lindor over this guy, let me know in the comments section. But coming in at number 5, I have Gunnar Henderson. This was an insane season for the second-year player. Over a 9 WAR in just his second full season, even though he still had under a 900 OPS. However, his OPS plus was 160, and now that Baltimore is a non-hitter friendly park with the massive left field wall, the OPS rewards him for still having an awesome season there. In 2025, they're moving the wall back in. Gunnar Henderson's gonna put up even better stats in my opinion. He came 4th in AL MVP voting with good defense and 37 homers while adding 31 doubles and 21 stolen bases. And there's still plenty of room to improve all over his game, especially with the strikeouts, but I do think that he'll improve in 2025 and really take a step forward into the top 5 players in baseball. The richest man in baseball and the new face of the New York Mets would be higher if he wasn't a negative defender. Insane walk rate, insane power, but still slow and just not a good base runner. Along with the bad defense, I gotta mark him down just a little bit. Still easily a top 5 player in baseball after his 8 WAR season and 41 homers and 290 batting average, 178 OPS plus as well. He's just an insane hitter, but again, he really only gives you the bat. Even if the bat is the best it can possibly be, he doesn't give you anything on the bases and he doesn't give you anything in the field. I just have to put him at 4. The 3 guys ahead of him are just too good. Coming in at number 3, I have Juan Soto's former teammate, Aaron Judge. He will be a better defender in 2025 due to moving back to right field. We all know he's going to hit 100 home runs next year because he does every year. However, he's going to suffer a little bit in production because he's losing Juan Soto, and that's protection. He's just such a good hitter all around. He doesn't have holes except for the fact that he strikes out a little, but he still had over a 300 batting average last year, which for Aaron Judge is insane. That is horrifying, but I don't know, he's getting to be 32 years old as well, and the guy ahead of him at number 2, he's younger, and that's Bobby Witt Jr. You knew Bobby Witt Jr. was going to be on the list, so you knew he had to either be 1 or 2 on my rankings, but he's here at number 2. He is the best 5-tool player in baseball, and it's really not close. He's an insane hitter, he's an insane fielder, and he's probably the single fastest player in the entire league. The only knock on his game is a small chase problem, and I say that in quotations because it's really not a problem at all. He's still one of the most productive players in baseball, and he had a 332 batting average and 211 hits with a 977 OPS with a 171 OPS plus, almost a 400 on base percentage, 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases, 9.4 WAR. I mean, what else could you ask from Bobby Witt Jr.? Second in MVP, he won a Gold Glove at shortstop, Silver Slugger, All-Star. He does it all. He does it all. He's 99th percentile with the bat. He's 96th percentile in base running and 95th in fielding. He does it all. Literally the best 5-tool player we've seen in a couple of years here. Probably the best 5-tool season since 2018 Mookie Betts, and that's an all-time good season. Bobby Witt Jr. deserves to be second place, and the only reason why he's not first place, I've said this once before, the unicorn is sitting at first place. You guys clowned me last year. If you didn't watch last year's video, I said, I cannot take Shohei Ohtani out of the best player in baseball until he's not the best player in baseball. You guys were like, oh, well, he's not pitching, he's not doing this, he's only a DH. 50-50 season. The first 50-50 season of all time. Ever. Never happened before. He's rehabbing from injury. He's the best player we have ever seen. I don't care how old you are. You've never seen a better baseball player. And in 2025, he's going to be pitching again too. he's gonna be back to pitching after that 50-50 season that, again, never been done before. He's going to be a pitcher again as well. He hasn't slowed down yet, and because of that, there's no way I'm taking him out of the number 1 spot. If I didn't last year, you know he's staying in this year, and there's a 0% chance he's leaving anytime soon. I feel like even if he bats 0.001 and has a 13 ERA, I'd still have to put him in my top 3 players just because of how good he is. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know in the comments what you disagree with, or maybe be nice and tell me what you do agree with.